Good afternoon, good morning, and welcome to another edition of Who Closed Last Night?
Brought to you by Walnut Street Hospitality Group. Aloha. My name is Zach, and
My name is Stan, and today it's been a little while since we did our last podcast, so we took a little break to actually do some other work, and we're back again. And Who Closed Last Night is a podcast about entrepreneurs, hospitality industry, leadership, and our goal is to bring you or help you from creating your own hardship that we may have stumbled on.
yeah, so we've already fell down a million times and we got back up 1,000,001. So a lot of these real life lessons come from our personal experience in business. And our hope is to share our experiences with you guys, our fans, our audience, whoever's out there that's willing to listen. So maybe you don't have to trip over yourself and land on your face. You'll let us do that work for you.
There you go. There you go. And of course, it's always good not to trip and fall on your face. With that being said, though, how we do this, I guess before we do this, what we should tell you is, how do you reach out to us? How do you get a hold of us? How do you send us something? How do they do that?
Send us something. We got gifts coming in the mail. What's going on here? There are a couple things I want to ask everybody, and these things help us out so much to continue this podcast for you guys. So stop what you're doing. Follow, like, share. You can find us on Instagram at whoclosedlastnight_. That's going to be the same on TikTok, whoclosedlastnight_. Find us on Facebook at Who Closed Last Night. You can watch us on YouTube, which is my personal favorite, Who Closed Last Night podcast. And then finally, you can send us your Who Closed Last Night story of the month, the day, the week, the century, that story you can't get out of your head, that you're not allowed to tell any of your new hires. You send that to us at whoclosedlastnightpod, P-O-D, @gmail.com, and we would love to share and feature your story with our audience, laugh with you, cry with you, and just share your experience too.
With that being said, we are ready to jump into to this topic. And this topic is probably near and dear to every entrepreneur or business owner or leader. And it's about strong work ethic. And the question is, does it exist anymore? What do you think?
Boy, I think they don't make them like they used to.
Ooh, that. Okay, we're almost ensuring we're getting hate mail from this. So, yeah, I think, some people would say, we got two different generations here.
Absolutely.
And I think some people would say, "Oh, you old boomers, you don't know what you're talking about."
Absolutely.
Anyway, so work ethic. I think when work ethic comes to mind, I think about who is going to do the work, whether or not it's easy, it's tough, or when it's easy and
Who gets the
tough.
job done?
Who gets the job done, right?
Amen.
And don't you think, I guess, from my perspective, and then you can tell me your perspective, but it seems like people don't want to work anymore. They want to be given something, or they want to work to a certain extent. They don't want to work for a promotion. They want to be given a promotion and then work to it.
And then they want to do bare minimum to keep themselves in that position.
Yeah.
I see it and I feel it. And for the audience out there, we're talking about the majority of people, not everybody. I love it when I find that diamond in the rough. But I will tell you that the majority of the people that come through my interviews, and even the people that I take a bet on and hire, it's not the same as maybe the vigor that I had when I was young in my first job. I wanted more. I wanted to be like, you guys hired the right person. I was pushing carts at Kroger's, like, oh, watch how many I can push in.
How many could you push?
All of them. You remember that, Kroger?
Well, so I think when I just kind of looked up different definitions and different things about work ethic. And I kind of feel it can be defined as a personal set of values that determine how anyone approaches work.
Yes.
And so why do you think it's important, or why is it so important for us to find people that have a good work ethic?
I believe that if you can find someone with a great work ethic, then once you train them and get them familiar with your operation, right? Those are the people you can trust. Those are the people you can develop. Those are the people that make up your reliable team, right? And that's the only way to be successful in business. You can't just have the whole business on your own back.
Right, right.
I mean, if you want to grow.
If you want to grow, or if you ever want to see the light of day again, right?
Yes, have a weekend off maybe.
So I guess when it comes to all of this, I'm sure you've got some examples, but I'm going to give an example. And so we own some restaurants, and one of the things that I find is that at the end of a night, we do a closing report, just like every restaurant. You know,
Yes.
you balance the money and credit cards. You make sure the restaurant is clean. You make sure that it's ready to go for the next shift, and you know, an abundance of things. And the information that comes off of that report is used by a variety of people. It's used by yourself, by myself, by the accountant, by marketing. All of those things
By
go
the
together.
manager of that restaurant.
Exactly. It's not just information for us; it's information for knowledge.
And it's vital information to make decisions.
Right. So, what really drives me crazy is when I get the reports, because you know I get them, and I either do what I need to do with them in the evening, or some of the later closers I do first thing in the morning,
Right.
and they're either incomplete or they're incorrect.
Either way, they're not accurate.
They're not accurate, which means that I have to wait till someone wakes up, because I'm an early riser.
Yes, you are.
And I
Yes,
have
you
to
are.
wait to get correct information. And I think one of the things that the work ethic part is, what if you just took 2 extra minutes, went down the report and said, hey, there's an empty cell. Something should be there because they're all colored.
You mean you expect people to sanity check their work?
I know that's a big thing. I might be expecting a lot, but hell yes, I do.
That's the whole purpose of having a report. So by the end of the time frame, that you have accurate information, that everybody can do their part based off this information, because that's really what it is. Accounting has to, run their numbers. I'm trying to lead the manager of that unit, so I need to know how to lead them within the next 12-hour stint, and the manager's hopefully making things like labor calls, and let me take a look at the schedule. Let me just put the finishing touches, tweak it a little bit based off of last night's go around, and let's perform good today.
I know you got one, but I got to tell you one more. So we in the information that comes from the locations, they also have some pictures of certain areas to make sure that things are done. So we get a picture of the beautifully cleaned equipment, and against the wall of grease dripping down the wall, and it's like, do you not look at that? Didn't you have to take that picture? How can you miss that, right?
What is that? The difference between checking a list and like owning the list, right?
That's it.
They took that picture because that was part of the closing duties, but they didn't decipher or analyze anything to do with that picture. They just know, boop, done.
Check.
Yeah, exactly.
You're right. They didn't take the extra time to
That's
say.
the difference in work ethic.
That's right.
Right? It's what is it? A list checker and a list maker.
Yeah.
Right. So some people, and this isn't a diss at anybody, everybody has a place in this world, but there's some people that are fit for leading, and there's some people, you need a solid team. You need people to get you through the storm, but none of that is effective if you don't know the meaning of what you're doing in the moment.
You don't have a work ethic.
Absolutely.
I know you got a story or two.
Well, I manage some of these operations in our units, and we have a lot of quick service restaurants. And I can tell you so many stories about work ethic, but I think the stuff that kind of stick out in my head is uh, we have build sheets, we have recipe books, right? And I watch people, they'll take a tomato, and we're slicing a tomato, and we slice all our produce fresh, right? We believe in quality. Um, and you're supposed to be able to cut it in half and then cut 6 slices out of a half of a tomato. These people will cut it in half and throw it in the bin, and then you got to think about when you're building a sandwich and you put a fourth of a tomato on it. What is the customer thinking, right? That's laziness from the customer's view, right? That's obviously laziness that they're not seeing. They're trying to check the list.
Yeah.
They're trying to complete their chore, right? And at the end of the day, you got to stop and think, no matter what position you're in, whether you're the customer that's receiving the product, the person making the product, or the person leading the business, that all this is happening, right? And everybody cut a corner in there and nobody was happy,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's a small version. I think on the other side of work ethic, and this is kind of what I believed in growing up, was sometimes all you need is a good, consistent work ethic, right? Because the rotation of people in any business changes over the course of time. If you have a consistent, strong work ethic, you'll be at the top of that food chain in a year and a half, just based off people going on with life and not solid people coming in the door, and you're already trained. You know what to do, how to make it happen. So I think on the opposite side of that, you give yourself such a razor's edge if you can have a consistent, high quality work ethic.
I think I agree with that. There's another piece that comes to mind, and that is when you have people with poor work ethic alongside people with good work ethic, and then the people with the not so good work ethic get away with stuff or continue to not perform, then the person with the good work ethic tends to do one of two things. They say, well, I'm going to work as hard as they do, and they lower themselves.
Nobody's saying anything to this guy? Okay.
Okay, I guess I can do that too.
Yeah.
Or they leave and go someplace where a standard or a work ethic is appreciated.
That's a knife to the heart of somebody that really put some time into building a team,
Yes.
but they cut the corner, and the corner that they cut was making sure that everybody, is led the same. And
Yeah.
the expectation is at the same level, because you're right. The easiest way to get rid of your high performers is to keep your mediocre performers.
Yes. And not,
I can see the poster on your wall.
that might be there. I'm not denying it.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
It's a good one. I think those are our thoughts on work ethic and the importance of work ethic, and some of the things that I, work ethic is important to me, obviously, and so when I look at some of these work ethic, like a professionalism. A strong work ethic says they work to maintain professionalism within the workplace in every situation. And the person who has a poor work ethic doesn't care about professionalism, right? They'll often cause disruptions in the organization's typical processes because they don't follow the procedure. They don't care about the procedure because they don't have a strong work ethic.
I really dislike when I see that professionalism being disregarded, because they don't realize they're setting themselves up to fail so fast, right? Because once you tear down the walls of leadership and the people that you're leading, and everybody's on the same plateau, then there's no hierarchy. Then prisoners run the asylum, and then the leader that created all this dysfunction. They're running for the door because they can't put the reins on it and control it anymore. They've lost control.
Have you ever seen that happen?
Yes. But it happens so fast. And I believe that those leaders in those points of time believe that, they're venting, they're trying to, I think they're trying to build a bridge with their team members, but they're building it on horrible ground. They're building it on, let's complain about all these things we have to do instead of providing the energy and leading them like, hey guys, let's do one a day. We'll be done before the week's over. This is
Right.
going to be easy. Hey, we're not doing anything. The three of us, we're going to work on the guests and their needs. And hey, you get a head start on our project of the day, right? We're going to be done in no time. I think one of the tricks that I've used, and it's not really a trick, but instead of saying, hey, we've got to do X, Y, and Z, hey, it's so easy. It's not rocket science. This is how it's done. We're going to do this. But then their expectation is, oh, this is not difficult at all. Oh,
Yeah.
we'll just do it.
Do you feel like sometimes people, like work ethic in a location starts off at, say, level 9?
Yes.
And then because of the lack of consistency, of adherence to policy, to procedures, to timeliness, all of the things that, that make up a good work ethic, 6 months later, it's a 7.
Yes.
Right. And it gets to a 6, and then everybody hits the panic button and says, holy shit, we got to fix this. And then, then the people start stepping on toes, or the sense of urgency kicks in. So instead of having a consistent sense of urgency, all of a sudden it's a fire drill.
Yes. I absolutely would agree with that. And the thing that often frustrates me is that when you have all these fail safes and these overlapping checklists to make sure you have the coverage everywhere, right? And they just get disregarded over time because, yesterday they might not have, they had more time to do what they needed, so they got ahead. And then the next day they were ahead, so they didn't adhere to the, whatever checklist.
Didn't do anything.
And then the third day, it's like, okay, we're not doing anything. And then now we're Saturday, and it's like we needed all the stuff that we didn't do, and now we're running. I'm chasing my tail all day. It's a fire drill.
Yeah.
And if you just hit every step every day would be an easy and effective day.
Yeah.
And you would never be chasing your tail. I mean, there's always going to be something.
A bump in the road, right?
A bump in the road, right.
That's what that is.
Let's send somebody out to the lobby with a mop because a soda got spilled.
Yeah.
Right? But we have somebody to do that because everything else is completed.
Yeah. I think having been one of those people with a good work ethic, and this is me personally just saying that I always felt like I'm being taken advantage of, because if you're the one with the work ethic, then someone didn't do something because of your work ethic. You jumped in and said, I'll handle that, right?
Right.
And then pretty soon it became the expectation, oh, he's going to take care of it.
Right.
And I think you can look at that one of two ways. I'm being taken advantage of, or I'm building my reputation to get more, to get further ahead, to,
You're
to
throwing
be
that in the bank.
recognized. I'm throwing it in the bank. And I think those are two ways that you can look at it. And sometimes it's a little bit of both. You're still throwing it in the bank, but you're waiting for someone to say, hey, thank you. Thank you for doing that.
That's right.
Hey, we're trying to hire that position, or we're replacing that person.
Or how do you feel about where do you want to be in the next year? That'd be the great response you're waiting for.
That would be the response that I'd be waiting for.
Yeah.
How do they reach us again?
All right. So there's a few ways. I'm going to hook you up with all of them. So you're going to follow, like, and share. You can find us on Instagram at whoclosedlastnight_. That is going to be the exact same on TikTok, whoclosedlastnight_. You can watch us on YouTube at Who Closed Last Night Podcast. Find us on Facebook at Who Closed Last Night. You can listen to us on Spotify and watch us on YouTube. My favorite is going to be send us your Who Closed Last Night story of the month, day, century, that thing you're not allowed to tell the new hires, that thing that you never told your boss. Send that one to me at whoclosedlastnightpod, P-O-D, @gmail.com. And we would love to anonymously share that with our audience. We will not get you in trouble unless you want to.
Unless they're watching this podcast.
Yes, yes.
So this lesson is really pretty simple, right? Know what you're looking for. And that goes from the employee side and the leadership side.
Yes.
And don't accept anything but what you're looking for. And make sure that there's communication so that people have the benefit of the doubt to have a strong work ethic.
That's a whole nother podcast in itself, the communication, because if you don't tell someone exactly what you need out of them or where you want them to be at, they're just assuming they're doing what you want them to do.
Well, and conversely, I think the other part of that is if you're an employee that wants to grow, you got to let that be known, right?
Yes.
Because I think there are so many, and I've done this myself, and it's not a great thing, but I think you assume that everybody that comes in the door just wants to do their job and get out.
Yeah.
And you don't always know that there's those gems right amongst the coals that want more and that are willing to to do more or seek
worth a little more water.
See what grows. So that's our lesson for today. Is not really a lesson, but those are the things that we've run across. And I think if you own a business, you're a leader, you're an entrepreneur. If you haven't run across it, you're gonna run across it. And we hope to hear some of your stories.
That's absolutely right. And until next time,
we got one word for you, just because, although we're in Vegas, we're Ninth Island. But anyway, that one word is aloha.